It's not like that. I don't like the feel of the bottom. I like the top. Feel the bottom. This is amazing, the side.
The reason why people catch alligators look here. Okay, as long as I don't touch him, he won't shut. But the reason why people are able to catch these alligators, like I said, is they only see down here. So I can grab him out of front. There's only 3 to 5 pounds of pressure before he opens his mouth. So I can hold his jaws, or else I can sneak around the back of him, grab him by the back of the neck, and then slide my hands up through the back there. That's where his bottom jaw fits into his top jaw. You see here? Right. So they made to chop things in half, makes the animal small enough to get down that flap in the back of his throat. Alligators have to use the weight of their food to pull this down and open up that hole back there. So it's things like turtles, birds, fish, frogs, snakes, rabbits, raccoons, possums, armadillos. Just about anything you can picture fitting inside of his mouth, he's able to crush it up. There's about 3,000 pounds per square inch of closing power inside of his mouth. That's why they keep regenerating teeth their whole life, because they bust them off by eating turtles and things like that. The 2 indentations up there in the middle of his jaws, that's how far his eyes drop down inside of his head. So in thick vegetation, their eyes are protected. You see how they drop down? They're childproof. Anything that's around him, they pull down. Here's his ears too. They hear a splash in the water. It's just made to alert the alligators, but they're not able to determine distances or direction with their hearing. They hear a splash, they come up to the surface, and they look for something moving. If they don't see it moving, they'll sit there real still and calm until it does start moving again, then they go after it. So fishermen get approached by alligators a lot because of all the constant splashing. People that feed alligators, they usually end up getting bit or the next person feeds them. When you feed an alligator, they swim up next to the boat and they open their mouth. Did you guys see that out there? They swim up next to the boat and open their mouth. Well, the person that's not expecting to feed an alligator, they'll, say they have a cigarette in their hand, they go out like this to flip the ash off the cigarette. The alligator sees your hand moving, comes up and grabs you. Picking a flower or something like that. So it's not a good idea feeding alligators. The reason why people call this wrestling is the Seminole Indians would tie up their alligators by pinning his jaws here with their chest and chin, so they had both their hands free to take a rope and wrap it around his jaws. They tie up their alligators instead of shooting them, that way they can keep the meat fresh, and they have ice and coolers to put the meat in. I'm not going to tie the alligator, but I'll pin his jaws and put my hands to the sides for you just to show how they'd hold him so they could take the rope and tie him up. And if he bites me, just try to get you a picture. They take the rope, wrap it around his jaws, and then they take his tail, tie his tail to his jaws so they can pick him up and carry him. I'm going to show you how the same, naturally be an alligator smaller one, it wouldn't be this size. This size of an alligator weighs about 200 pounds. I'm going to show you how the same thing I just did there, but with his mouth open. They build up a callus right here. I'm going to use that as a weakness. I haven't came up with a purpose for this yet, but you be able to tell if I don't do it right. Ready? Well, we're going to do this for 2 times, so. You'll be able to tell if I don't do this right.
Oh, wow.
Now, if I held the alligator down like this the whole time, he's just going to try to drag me around with him or try to move. If I cover up his eyes, you'll see his nostrils closed. If you look at any one of these alligators in here, their nostrils are closed and their belly's real fat. They're holding their breath. And they do that to conserve energy. The less blood flow they got pumping through their body, the more heat they store.